I've recommended your book to so many people and it's life-changing, but I guess the opening question, just to get some guys who maybe don't know the story behind your book, is what made you want to write a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy?
All right. That's because I was a nice guy. I was one of the people that needed the book, like your friend. And, I thought that was a great thing. I thought I'm a nice guy. I'd tell people that 30 years ago, I would have bragged. I'm a nice guy. I'm different than other men. I'm not a jerk. I treat women well. I'm generous. I'm kind. I avoid conflict. And I thought that was all really good stuff until my second wife told me one day, I can't take you anymore. You've got to go get help. And I go, what do you mean? You're the one that's angry all the time and moody and upset. I do everything to try to make everything right. She says, I can't take your passive aggressiveness anymore. And I already had a PhD in marriage and family therapy, and I didn't even know what that meant. Right. And
Let me get this straight. So you have a PhD in marriage and therapy.
Marriage and family therapy. Correct.
And she's telling you, I can't stand your passive aggressiveness.
And I didn't know what she meant. And she said, everybody thinks you're such a nice guy, but you're not so nice to me. You hurt me. You do hurtful things. You embarrass me in public. You bring up things. You think you're teasing, but it hurts. And she said, you need to go get help. And she said, I'm going to leave you if you don't. So, I mean, that was like a big stick upside the head. So yeah. I went to go get help to find out why me being a nice guy didn't make her treat me better and didn't make her appreciate me and want to have sex more. Luckily, I landed in some good spots. I landed in a 12-step group and then with a therapist, and then I joined a men's group and realized that me being, quote, a nice guy was, it was a put on. I was trying to win people's love and approval and trying to avoid any kind of disapproval. So I was really unauthentic and wasn't particularly very honest and was a difficult person to be around.
Now, how tough is it for you to have a PhD in, marriage and, for you to go to therapy to say, listen, I need help with my marriage? How tough was that for you to do at that time?
Well, it was challenging because, I grew up in a real fundamental Christian church. My father was critical. I kind of grew up during the feminism that all men are bad and all this. So I grew up really hiding everything about myself. And that's pretty typical of nice guys. We keep a lot of things in. We hide a lot of things. We only show people enough of what we think will make them approve of us or not disapprove. So it was challenging. But I tell you what, I loved it, actually. That group I mentioned I went to was a 12-step group for sex addicts because my wife kept saying, you're a sex addict. So I went to a 12-step group for sex addicts and quickly found out I was not a sex addict. I wasn't having enough sex to be a sex addict. But these guys that were there, man, their lives were really messed up. And I just went, this group met like at 6 a.m. once a week. I got excited about going to this group at 6 a.m. because for the first time in my life, I got to just open up. I got to just talk about me and reveal me and let out what I've come to know is toxic shame, this belief that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. And that was so just liberating to go and just say, hey, I thought about this, or I have this dark, part of me, or I did this thing in the past, or I want to go do this thing. And the guys just go, thanks for sharing, Robert. And I'm going, wow, that wasn't bad at all. And I got in with a good therapist, and I later got into a good men's group. And I mean, it takes work. If you're used to hiding parts of yourself, it is a challenge. But so that's the one thing I say, I repeat to everybody, and it's there in the book. Go find safe people to do this work with. Go find somebody you can start revealing yourself to, talking to, getting more accurate feedback of who you are and who you're not.
Robert, let me ask you, when your wife said you need to go see somebody because I think you're a sex addict, was she saying that was she saying that because you constantly wanted to have sex with her, or was she saying that because you were promiscuous?
There was two pieces. One is, yes, I wanted to have sex with her, and we had a highly sexual relationship before we got married. And on our honeymoon, she said, aren't you glad that now that we're married, we don't have to pretend to like sex anymore? I thought, wait a minute, I wasn't pretending. You're hot, you're sexy, you're amazing. I mean, and so she just like shut down sexually. So yeah, I did keep pursuing her for sex. And then I did act out I had an inappropriate relationship with a woman that she found out about, and she said, "You got to go get help." And like I said, that was the big stick upside my head, because if it wasn't for that, I'd still probably be doing that same kind of stuff I was doing back then.